Greetings, family. Welcome. I'm the Poly Patriot, and I'm glad to have you here with me today. Some shocking news coming out of the state of New York, where a CEO of United Healthcare, Mr. Brian Thompson, was shot dead right outside of his hotel. There's some brutal footage, and we're going to show it to you in a little bit. And it's just crazy how someone was singled out like that. You can tell he was singled out. There were witnesses that were on camera, literally within point blank range of the shooter, and he didn't even look their way or her way, his way. And so you know that something's going on there. Also, Mayor Eric Adams is coming out and saying, hey, I don't want these guys in my city anymore. He doesn't want the rapists and the people that are shooting at cops, and they just so happen to be illegal immigrants. So he kind of changed his ways, wants to work with Mr. Holman, the new border czar. So let's go and check it out now.
As former chief of detectives, you led investigations like this. How do you go about piecing this together with such a vague description of the suspect? Someone dressed all in black, wearing a mask, can't see his face. So now what?
So now you look at things, you got to do a video canvas. But first you have to lock down that crime scene because you have eyewitnesses who've already testified they saw it. So you go with that video, what that description they have, and you start doing almost like a leapfrog, like a scent, with only a video one of where he runs off to. It's also important this man was there. So this was a target. They knew he was coming, and it was a setup. Right now, we'll talk about motive later, but right now you have to lock down what you have. Those projectiles in the street, those shell casings, and that video, which is always important. I was chief of Manhattan Detectives before I was chief of detectives, and I'll tell you, there's a lot of video out there that's going to aid in this investigation. So I think it's going to go very quickly.
And you're talking about video, Phil. It sounds like we're getting photos in now too.
Yeah, he's right. Robert knows exactly what's going on, and these are the pictures. Take a look. That is a picture, police tell us, of the suspect as he grabbed a bike and took off. This is the suspect out in front of the hotel. So you can see he's wearing dark clothes, just like witnesses said.
If you haven't seen the video, I'm sure you will, but I can kind of walk you through it. So he appears on camera, walks up in back of Mr. Thompson, puts one shot into his back. Mr. Thompson then drags himself to the hotel wall, probably in shock. There's an eyewitness just to the right or to the left of Mr. Thompson. She scurries away to the side, and he unloads what seems to be a few more rounds into him. It looks like he tried to empty his mag, and he tried to refill his mag, but it jammed. So he's trying to fix the jam, and then Mr. Thompson is on the ground. He's putting in a few more rounds in it, and just basically walks off around this car across the street, super calm, like he had no worries about it. To tell me that you want to focus on motive later, like, what does this guy know? Like, people don't put hits on people just for no reason, right? Like, this is not some random person just coming up and trying to shoot on somebody. So let's keep our ears out and our eyes open as to what's going to unfold, especially with a lot of more stuff that's coming out with RFK and many of the other things that Trump has in store for us.
Hood over his head, that backpack on, grabbed a bicycle after he ran down an alley and took off. So Bob's right. He could be anywhere in Manhattan, and they have to lock that down. We do have a couple of interviews WABC, our local affiliate here, did with a few folks who witnessed the shooting, and saw the shooter before. So let's take a listen to them.
I was holding my phone, then I hear the shot, And when I look at the guy was with a gun, like, the silent gun, got like a black gun. And I saw him after he shot him. He ran across the street this way. Yeah, this time he stepped out of the car to smoke. And he see the killer 2 times or 3 times he's passing by,
Yeah.
The governor is the chief executive of the state of New York. And if she puts in place a ban that we are required to follow, we're going to do that. If she leaves it up to, like we've done in Albany before, a city of X number of people, they can make their determination, then we are not ready to make that decision yet because we need to get it right. And others tried and others failed. Now, we have a history of trying and succeeding, like Willis Point. like Brooklyn Army Terminal. You know, we've been able to land all these planes. I will ask the governor, let me do it so it's right. And then the other state could follow me, because we're going to get it right. We're not going to do it and then have to go backwards.
Okay. If you haven't been keeping up with what's been going on in New York City has been a sanctuary city where a lot of the illegal immigrants are able to flee to so that they are not in trouble by Homeland Security or by ICE, and therefore they are basically allowed to live amongst us as Americans without the fear of being deported and being kicked out of the country. The problem with that is that there's a lot of bad that came with that. There was a man that had raped a woman in New York, right? It basically flipped off the world as he was on live camera, live TV, right? Got sentenced, got bailed out, but nothing happened to him, right? Went out and then raped another girl, right? There's a few instances of people shooting police officers, killing them, and having nothing done to them, right? So for Mayor Adams to say that he's going to get it right, that he's not going to backtrack, this is him backtracking. He put up this wall and said that he's going to do what he feels needs to be done to protect these people. And then all of a sudden, when he figured out that his resources could not hold or maintain the amount of people that were coming in, when he found out that his constituents, like actual New Yorkers, right, born and bred in New York, did not want those people there, and they realized that they were taking jobs, that they were causing crime, that they were a nuisance to the community, right? Then he had to flip his lid and kind of change up his whole vibe and just say, oh yeah, well, we're going to get this right if the governor will allow me, right? Like, nah, bro, like you messed up. You can admit it, and now you're trying to backtrack to get it right, which is completely fine if you can fess up to that like a man and say, yes, I messed up. I didn't have it right. I was on the wrong side of history for part of it, and now I'm trying to get right. Let's see if he does that.
So I would, in my conversation with the governor, she hasn't mentioned that to me, I would share with the governor, give me an opportunity to get it right, and then the rest of the state can follow what I'm doing, because trust me, we won't go backwards when we get it right.
Our second question. Yes.
I'm almost 100% sure that the rest of the state of New York does not want to follow suit with New York City.
I know on Liz's question, you seem to say that you are going to be open to deporting asylum seekers who have been charged with a crime, but you want to talk with the border czar. I just want to make sure that we got that right. And then in regards to meeting with the border czar, has Homan responded to your request for a meeting, and is there one on the books?
This wasn't new. I've always stated I wanted to address those who commit crimes. That's always been
charged.
I'm open to having a conversation on how you would implement.
What do you new kids call it?
You got
Cap?
a guy.
He's capping.
He's on camera shooting a police officer. I don't want that guy in my city. You know, plain and simple. You got a guy that rapes one young lady, gets out, and go rape another person. I don't want them in the city.
And then did Homan respond to your request for
yes, he did. Yeah. And actually, I think he was on one of my favorite stations, Fox. You know, talking about that he's looking forward something about that I reached out, and that he's looking forward to me this week or next week. So and we communicated this morning, and he stated that
he's fumbling.
You know, once he settles, we'll reach out and we'll coordinate. Our teams will coordinate for the most part.
Dana, thank you.
Can you smell the stankiness? For all you Gen Zers, can you see the cap? Can you see the cap? I don't know what arm movement you make for that, but the lies, right, that are coming out. Oh yeah, we talked. Yeah, you know, I was always for this. That's me. I've always been, you know, okay with that. I don't want these people in my city. Like, bro, like we can literally pull film from like last year and even a few months ago and be like showing you what you were saying. Right, that you were totally against Donald Trump, against the border czar, against making sure that illegal immigrants were not in our cities anymore, like completely against that. And now you're like, oh, nope. I was always for it. Lies.
Hi, Mr. Mayor.
How are you?
I'm all right. Two questions on the immigration deportation front.
Yes.
First, so in your view, someone is a criminal if they have been charged with a crime? Because you yourself have been charged with crime, right? But, so that's one question. The other is, if you were a law-abiding asylum seeker in New York City, someone who's doing the best they can to get ahead and
Yes.
all of that, sending their kids to school, would you be scared about the prospect of the incoming administration?
Okay, two things. Your first part, I'm an American. Americans have certain rights. The Constitution is for Americans. And I'm not a person that snuck into this country. My ancestors have been here for a long time. And I don't know if that's your blouse is made of cotton, but they used to pick some of that. So what rights I have, the person that decides to shoot a police officer, they should not have those same rights. Okay, that's my position. And I look forward to hearing what is the idea of the...
Mind you, this is the same mayor who, and he's not alone, right? There's a bunch of them, especially in blue states, that were willing to defund the police, right? So they defund police, which means police can't get paid. They don't have the support of the government. So then they lose people. There's not enough people to actually patrol our cities. Our cities are overrun by illegal immigrants, some of them who are harmful to our society. And then there's crimes that are being engaged in, and an increase of those crimes. And now we're recycling everything and going back and saying, no, we don't want them in our cities. Crazy.
The borders are. I'm looking forward to that. I've said it over and over again. We need to fix the immigration problem in the city. The American people said that. I don't know if you really watched the election results. The president-elect had the popular vote, had the electoral vote. He was not indecisive on what his positions were. He was clear we need to secure our border and deal with the immigration issue. The American people heard it. They voted for it. I've said it before, over and over and over again. It didn't matter who was the president for me. I said the same thing. New York City should not be going through this. Chicago should not be going through this. Denver should not be going through this. The American people should not be going through this. And the migrants and asylum seekers should not be going through this. We're placing them in a position that is unfair and is inhumane. I cannot make it any clearer.
He can't. And you notice how every single city that he just mentioned was a democratically ran city who decided to become an asylum city for these illegal immigrants and now are dealing with this big issue, right? And for him to say, yes, he's right. Trump is very decisive, and he's been very decisive. But if I can just backtrack, 2016, right? He comes on the scene and he's talking about the border being a huge issue. 8 years ago, right? The border is a big issue. And even me, like being just young old me, I was like, I don't know. I mean, the border's always been a sketchy place, but I don't know if it's like that bad, right? And he's like, no, we got to build a wall. We need to make sure all these drugs are out of here. These illegal immigrants are coming in here. There's drug cartels, there's rapists, there's this, that, and the other that are coming through, right? Along with normal people that are just trying to find a better life, right? Don't get me wrong. But 8 years ago, everybody was like, dude, this Trump guy is crazy. Like, what is he talking about? Fast forward, right? 2024, and now we've got people like the mayor of New York coming out saying that I've always been saying it. We got to crack down on this stuff. We got to really take care of it. This is what we got to do. Like, these guys were downplaying this for the last 8 years until it became such a huge problem. And it's not like Donald Trump was the only one. You know, there's a lot of people that were talking about securing our southern and northern border, right? Because we got a lot of problems going on up there as well. But nobody was willing to speak on it until somebody came out like that, right? And even after all the bad, horrible press that he was getting, Donald Trump still stood 10 toes down and said, nope, like, we need to do this. And look at where we're at now, right? We've got a president that's coming in who's not even inaugurated yet, but he's making the changes now. He's talking to the president of Canada. He's talking to the president of Mexico. He's working out deals. He's getting a new border czar. He's making sure that these mayors from these liberal cities are being put on notice that times are going to change. And that's the kind of leadership that we need. And hopefully, hopefully New York, because New York is a beautiful state. It's a beautiful city. Lots of culture there. Lots of good people there. They're just ran by some pretty dumb people. And that's no cap. Hey guys, thank you for joining me. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, join me on my journey here on YouTube. I'm talking about faith, family, culture, and country. And I hope if you fit into any one of those segments that you join along with me. I do have some merch, so if you want to check in the description box, I've got my Make America Fit Again, because that's what we want to be. We want to be some fit individuals so that we can run through our country and celebrate our lives, our God, our faith, our families, and our community together. Until next time, I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.